Unmute, unmute, unmute. Hey, we're not actually muted this time. No
Mute, unmute,
technical
unmute.
errors.
Hey, we're not actually muted this time. No technical.
Whoa.
Oh, so that was me. We're good to go.
Yeah, you're good. Okay, so
Yeah.
one technical error. What up, everybody? What's going on? Feeling bullish. Dude, it was a crazy day. You know what's weird? Is I actually think today, well, it's because I traded more in the afternoon, was my biggest day of the week. But it wasn't my biggest, like, single morning or anything. And it was just consistent trading, and I had a good morning. I went and played with my kids. I came back, I sat down and scalped where they took naps. And I actually got on the mic and called a bunch of crap what I was doing in Tesla. And just because I sat there and traded it, man, when there's a trend and you can catch that trend and stay in that trend, um, it's pretty chill. It was kind of clear that there was no strength. There was no real bidding things up at the end of the day in the market. And Eddie, you said before, you just went on that this was actually the first, like, we were in an inside month until literally the last few minutes of today
Yeah.
on the triple
Yeah.
Qs.
If you pull up a chart of it, you'll see, I always argue that inside months are going to be choppy. And we certainly had that. But once we start accelerating to the downside, I found trading to get easier and better. I don't know about you. I thought trying to go long at this point on those green days was a lot harder. Red days, take puts, you're set.
Oh, yeah.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. The scary part is I can see us easily hitting, listen, 308, is not out of the question with an ATR of $10 a day on the Qs. And yes, and last year's low was 297.45, man. If we start doing that, it gets ugly really quick.
Yeah, you're at an annual low. Like, giving back a lot of what we made during COVID. It's crazy times to be a trader and to be doing this. You know what I see, though, looking at this, though? Especially if we get below last year's lows, it's like such a buying opportunity. I'm just like, oh man, my long-term accounts, like looking at buying stuff long-term and getting into some swing trades and stuff. It's like, I was always scared of buying on this up. It's like, man, I just feel like I really need a correction. It's like, okay, things are like pre-COVID levels or during COVID, like first day of COVID levels. It's like, okay, there's some swing like opportunities here, less risk on your entries for your long portfolio, your IRA accounts and stuff.
Yes. I mean, I'm not jumping to take a position right now. I'll
No.
tell you that. I think that where the economy is going, where the world is going, I think cash is king. Someone was telling me, oh, but inflation is 7%. It's like, well, the NASDAQ's down 22% this year, and we're not even halfway through the year. So I'm fine with holding on to cash and not taking long-term positions right here. Let the market really flush out the weekends, and we'll see what happens. But listen, we survived April. That's all that matters.
We did. We got through it. And if you're still here, you're still a trader. Yo, you crushed the open con. Good job. This week was just a stellar week, in my opinion. Whenever Musk is selling, and Rose called it when we were trading, and other people had said it too, but she was like, this feels exactly like December, the way Tesla was moving. And it was just like you just buy and you sit there and puts, and you're like, well, this was a good day. Today wasn't that, obviously, but there were some good calls and good trades today. How did you guys do today? Did you guys do all right? If you're in chat, throw it up. How do y'all do? Did you have a good month? Are you happy with where you're at? I know Ari was in Discord earlier and said that it was pretty solid, and he's glad for some good volatility trading and stuff. So I think it's nice now that we're in that the sentiment is bearish, so it actually makes some of the bear moves easier to play. As far as an indecisive zone, it's like things are actually like the pops. You can actually sell them, and you can actually short them, and you're actually being able to make money in them. And no, it's not easy, and I mean, relatively speaking, but the first half of this month felt indecisive for me. Like it wanted to break out, but you just never really had it. And then after that, the second half of the month, this last 2 weeks, it was just a different market, and it was a lot easier for me anyway. From where I was at, this straight down move was a lot easier to catch.
Yeah, and what's crazy in my opinion is that this is really orderly. There's no chaos. Like, yeah, people are hurting. I get that. But, it's not like CNBC has gone into no commercial mode, market in distress, market in turmoil, whatever it is. We're not seeing people really, saying that's it, this market's over. We're not seeing the blood in the streets. We haven't seen hedge funds blow up. We haven't seen institutional buyers just giving everything up. They there's look at Kathy Wood, right? I mean, we haven't seen that capitulation yet. That's the scary part. If you're retiring in the next couple of years, but if you're someone like yourself and someone like myself that I'm in like 20% cash, I would say, in all my long-term stuff. No, I'm sorry, 80% cash, 20% long-term positions. Like, we're salivating at this, but the truth of the matter is that there's a lot of people out there really, really hurting.
Oh yeah.
Imagine trying to retire this year. Like, we talk about how great it is to be day traders and all that, and how wonderful it is to be able to start with cash and end in cash, but you know you can tell that people are in pain in their long-term stuff. And I don't know when we get back to those all-time highs. I don't know if we will eventually, but we double topped off the Qs and now we're breaking lower, after basing for a long time. Like, not good, right? So I think trading is going to be great in May. I think the Fed is going to throw us just a complete curveball. I really do think that it's not going to be what anybody expects. But we take it day by day. We're a community. We share our thoughts, and we come out ahead. Simple as that.
Yeah, man. Well, with that, it's a good segue into the show. So Eddy is here. I think this is your second time on the show, so welcome, Eddy. Everybody, welcome, Eddy. Leave a like in the description, Leave a like on the video if you like this stuff. And, like always, you want to see more. I was sick this week. I was out. Had a cough all week. I couldn't talk without just hacking a lung up. I was sick last week after I drove overnight to Georgia, so a little bit out of the weather. Finally back, so I'll get back to some regular scheduled content. So we'll kick off this show. We'll kind of recap the week a little bit, recap what we think, recap the month, talk some psychology. I've actually got some live trades. I might save them and just do not a private video, but a separate video to throw some more content up, since I didn't have some stuff of some today's trades, or maybe we'll review them with Eddy. Y'all let me know what you want. But leave a like, leave a comment. Let's kick off this show, guys. So cheers to all you guys out there. Cheers. Tink.
Nope, this way.
There you go.
Whatever.
So,
cheers.
Yeah, either way. So CT says, hey, by the way, he's visiting family, so he's not here. Said to say hello to everybody. Misses y'all. He had a good week. I had a pretty solid week. I think I made my month this week. I was fairly what I would consider green but flat on the lower side. What up, Dan? On the lower side of green, but okay, I was doing fine. And then this week really kind of set me and kind of set me up. Like, I was like, okay, I feel really good. And I would say it's kind of started last week, towards the end of last week, mid last week. And then with Elon selling this week, those violent moves in Tesla early were pretty, I'd say, easy relatively to catch, in a sense. If you saw them happening, you kind of saw that move before you got an entry, and you just the level 2 never caught a bid. And when I see that, I just get in and I sit until I hit a resistance, usually the next S2 or something, or I just say, hey, I'm going to hold it until there's a 1 minute breakout. And if it never breaks a 1 minute high, I just stay in the trade. And often that's how I trade those sells where it looks like there's some type of institutional selling, or selling that's, beyond something, but it's risky. And so my only red day this week was because of Facebook. And the only reason I think it was red is because I respected my stop loss on the fake news play in Facebook pre-earnings, where they came out and they said that it was that they missed on earnings, or they lowered their guidance, or something stupid like that. Bloomberg did, and then it was a fake story. It started dropping. I tried it, like 20 or 30 contracts, and got wrecked for like 4 or 5 points in it. And I mean, it did go down, and it could have worked. So I lost, a nice 5 figures on that, and I was green, so that took me red, a little bit below my daily stop loss. And I respected my stop loss, which, if I would have kept trading, maybe I could have made it back. But I was like, you know what? Sometimes you win them, sometimes you lose them. And I took that one. Other than that, I was having a good day, and it's just one of those freak things that just happen sometimes. And other than that, it was a really good week for me. I was super happy with how I traded, in the market. Um, Saw the moves really well. Was seeing the setups when I was taking the setups. I just felt like they were working, and I was identifying good entry levels on my positions. And I'll do a trade review. If not during this show, I'll do a separate show or a separate just straight video where I just kind of review some trades from some videos that I had. But Eddie, how was your week, man? Like, how was your week, your month?
I had a slow start to the week and I ended with a bang, which is always really nice going into a new month. I had a really good first week, and then my second and third week, I made money and then I lost it all. And I adjusted my trading plan in a very nice way. And once I got into the rhythm of things again, it was just, back to having those green days. I think what's really key for a trading plan, and that's something we've been talking about in the NewsBeat room quite a lot, is make sure it's flexible. So if something is not working, immediately change it and make sure you respect it. And I'm proud of myself for making that adjustment at the right time, just in time to be, psychologically, good to go into what could be a very tough month for the market, but what could be a good month of trading.
So what changed? So that's, a good point that you bring up there. What did you change, and what were you kind of flexible with in your, in your trading plan? Was there something specific that kind of stuck out that you're like, this particularly is holding me back? Was it becoming more aggressive? Was it just like committing to something specifically? What did you change?
Yeah, so the first thing so in chronological order, if you will, I have a pretty wonderful, in my opinion, stop loss system that tells me when to stop, when to get, step back from the market, when to know that, hey, your time is up for the day or for the week. And I found a hole in my plan that there could be an instance where a couple of parameters don't line up and I could keep, taking losses and not notice there's an issue. So once I caught that, I figured out where the issue was and I adjusted my trading plan. What I'm starting to do now, so our style of trading was a lot of front runs, trying to catch that breakdown and stuff like that. What I've been doing is using the 1 minute high or low or the 2 minute high or low as my stop. And I'll try to front run a little earlier, and I won't touch the position unless it goes against me. So I front run it early. I think it's going to go, and I just let it sit there, as opposed to front running, taking one or two trades, trying to catch that, selling out real quick. When PI is not very good, it's a little bit harder to do that. Furthermore, Tesla's my baby. She's mine. Nobody else can have her. I've been focusing on at the money versus out of the money, because those spreads I've noticed have been a little bit uglier lately and deep in the money calls. But at the money, they've been tighter, and the options have been really moving as of late. And PI is not too much of an issue when you have a tight spread. So those are some of the adjustments I made. I got rid of my 50-second chart. Wonderful. It was so stressful. That's the thing. It's like, it's great to trade with, but if you're just sitting there watching it, your mind is exhausted. So I got rid of that. I got rid of the 1 minute chart after the first hour. So I do 1, 2, 5 minute, and then I go 2, 5, 15. So I've been flexible in that respect. And I've been locking it in after 11. Nice. 11 comes around. I say to myself, did I hit my number for the day? Yes, I did. I'm done. I just turn off Fidelity and I hang out with you guys. Simple as that.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's good changes to have. Good identifiers to kind of know, like, hey, do this, do that. And the thing is, guys, like, there's something different with everybody. And so there's a difference in, and I love having Eddy on and talking to Eddy generally, because Eddy is a successful trader. And I'm like a sometimes successful trader. But we have very different styles of trading. I am like unashamedly extremely aggressive when it comes to sometimes my size and how I trade and jumping in violence. And it goes against me sometimes because, yes, I made pretty good on Tesla this week on some of those drops. But then I will also, the exact opposite will happen, because I'm not afraid to jump in a position. I jump in Facebook in the middle of that stuff, knowing the risk, and I lose 4 points or whatever it is, 3-4 points on calls, because I'm not afraid to jump in those. You're a little bit more cautious. You'll say, like, I'm not taking Tesla like on this drop because it's not setting up. Whereas I look at it and I'm just like, it's going down. I'm getting in and I'm just going to sit here and I'll just see what happens. And it's a difference, and neither one is right or wrong. They're simply a different way of looking at it. Have you thought about changing part of your trading plan to allow for that aggression, or are you happy with, you know what, that's not my game. I'm cool with not being in that. Like Like you see me sitting in Tesla and being like, yo, whatever, or Kelly holding things longer, or stuff like that. Like, do you want to do stuff? Is that like, you know what, maybe I want to adjust part of it to get there? Or are you just like, hey, I'm making a living doing what I'm doing. I don't need to go that route.
Well, listen, the truth of the matter is that the longer you hold a position, the more time you have that something could go against you horribly wrong, right? News can come, Tesla
Mm-hmm.
can plummet, Tesla can skyrocket, all types of things can happen. So the shorter the trade, the less risk you have. A lot of my past trading experience has been a random drop or a random spike out of nowhere, and I can't explain it,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because I was a much different trader before this room. So for me, I very much like taking the quick scalps with more size as opposed to sitting in 2, 3 contracts or 5 or 10, whatever you like to do,
Mm-hmm.
and just trying to catch a really big move. I don't mind that.
Yeah.
But in a market that's particularly choppy, there's a lot of uncertainty. News is kind of, hit or miss lately. I rather not be in positions than be in a position for an extended period of time. That said, I've been becoming a lot more comfortable taking common and just trying to catch a breakout or a breakdown, and using trade armor on Fidelity to set my stops, set my limits, and then I just I can have that position open and then scalp Tesla on the side. So that's something I've been doing a lot more. I actually had 2 trades this month that were a pretty big success doing that. Big success. It was a small amount of shares, but I held for a long time, and for me, that's a success. But it's funny that you say that though, because a lot of traders I've noticed are saying, if I held a bit longer, I could have made a lot more. And I always tell them, well, A, that's not your trading plan. And B, yes, you could have made a lot more, but it could have whipped against you and you could have had, deer in the headlights and you could have taken a huge loss. So as long as you're doing what your trading plan says, that's really all that matters. And if your trading plan says you hold until you see a green bar, for example, if you're shorting, great. Mm-hmm. If that works for you, that's great. My trading plan says you take the money unless it continues, it's still going down, but you have to have an entry. You can't just buy it randomly just like that. You need a 5-minute breakdown or at least a 2-minute breakdown or even a 1-minute breakdown, but you need something where you can set your stop so that you know when you're wrong. And that's something I think is really important, because whenever I market into something for no strategy, I always get slammed because I have no conviction.
Yep.
But if I have a calculated entry and a calculated exit and I have an idea of what I want the trade to do, no problem, I'll take it. I don't care if I lose even, it's fine. As long as I followed my plan, I'm not toxic, and I traded smart.
Yeah, because your plan is a successful plan that works over an extended period of time using the same plan. And I've kind of noticed with some people that I've talked to, and maybe some of you guys in the comments or whatever would think the same thing, is when you're trading and you're sticking within your plan, over time you're successful. Assuming you have a good plan and your strategy, your exit strategy, like Khan is saying, you have an exit strategy. Well, the problem is when you just jump in something without like having that trade, that idea of what you're trying to do, is you actually create your exit after the fact, and not in a good way. You're just like, oh, am I red? Am I green? And you didn't account for that before you got in the trade. And because you didn't properly account for your actual strategy for taking money or losing money, you're just going to get in and get out and make money, but there's no real plan for the trade. You're almost just gambling or just clicking a button trying to make money. That's not a successful way to do this. And if you're going to transition between doing both types, like the longer holds with a measured move or a fib line target or something like that, like you should actually have a strategy before you get there. And it's not just I should have held longer. And you're doing a good job of not doing that, because of a lot of us are going towards like, we're doing both things. I still scalp all the stuff, but then sometimes I'm like, hey, I'm in this. And one of the trades I'm going to show is the Facebook trade I did today. where I bought at a certain level. Let's see if I can find it, and then I'll show the trade later, but here we go. This was the trade right here in Facebook. So you had Facebook jumping up, and let me move us out of the way.
I saw you take this trade. I was
Yeah.
like, I saw that hammer and I was like, I'm not going to make it in time to catch this, but it looked beautiful. And your target was clearly, I think it was R1 or R2. It was just like, it was a great trade.
Yeah.
It really was.
First target was R1, and if it broke and didn't break down through this candle, I was going to hold for a fib move to 214. But the Q started failing, and Facebook broke this 2-minute candle, so I sold my second half at this break. And then I didn't play it. I just kind of let it go out. But, like, I bought at that level, like, when it hit there. And that was the plan the whole time. It was literally, hey, let's sit there looking on a 1-minute chart. It hit VWAP. I didn't buy even at breakout. I bought down here on this particular trade and literally sat in the trade at the level knowing that that was my stop, the bottom of the previous candle, and I'll show this trade in a later video. But that was the idea going before. Like beforehand, it's wait for it to hit VWAP or the 21. It hit. All right, get in. And then you just had to follow your trading plan. The idea is there was a plan before I got in. It wasn't like Eddie saying like, oh, Gator's in the trade. You notice what you didn't do, which I appreciate, is you didn't just jump in the trade and be like, okay, I'm just going to follow and take it. And, well, he's in it, so it's going to make money. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, I also hate Facebook as a trading name, so that had a lot to do with it. But
Yeah.
you know, it's when I see other traders take trades, I always like to wonder why they're taking a trade. And it was very obvious why you took the trade. I think that's what's really cool about our community, if you think about it, because like I don't have to do the type of trades you do, right? You do your thing, good for you, wonderful, happy for it. But I know how you trade and I've seen you adapt to the market and I learned from that, right? I'm like, oh, he's buying as soon as it hits VWAP. That's a really good idea. I'm going to try that. And then I'll use my stop will be this or that, whatever it is. But seeing you as a trader adjust and evolve has been, you know, it's important for all of us because we can all learn from this. So I appreciate it very much. One thing I want to bring up as well is Geronimo said this, I can't remember when he said this, but he's been saying it, is to trust your levels. And you really do got to trust your levels. Like that has been one of those things where at first I didn't do it, but I know a lot of people like to ridicule algo lines, but they really do call tops and bottoms like regularly. And I've started to trust those a lot more and it's been really wonderful. But as long as you have a system that works for you, that's just gold.
Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what you have to do. And I'm asking you this not to be like, oh, you should start trading stuff longer, but just because there's been so much of that going on and the talking about Kelly or the talking about these strategies, you're still successful doing your quick scalps. You're getting in, finding the levels you like, taking the trades you like you're not failing. Now, it might be a little bit harder or other people might be doing other stuff and there's nothing wrong with growing, but you're still doing the things that you're doing and being successful doing them. And you're just adapting your trading strategy a little bit along the way to get better. You're still growing, but it's not like you're telling everybody, hey, you have to jump over here, we have to quit this, or you have to change everything that you're doing. You're just finding ways to adapt, to continue what you're doing, to get better progressively. You're not just jumping into something that you're not comfortable with doing.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, a lot of people like to say, oh, Eddie likes to hold for 2 or 3 seconds. I mean, that's not true. My average hold time is actually about 30 seconds to a minute. Now, later, so far this year, like it started 15 seconds in January, but it's now a little bit longer. Like, that's not a lot of time, but if you, like, here's the thing about me is that, like, I'm not a video gamer. Actually, that's not true. I like to play video games, but I'm very, very quick, right? I see the move happen, I'm in. And as soon as I'm in, I'm ready to sell out. And that process for me on Fidelity takes about 1 second. I'm very, very quick. And if I'm out, I'm out. I know exactly where my exit strategy, but if I can catch a point or two in 30 seconds or a minute, life is good. Like, I know some people want to try to catch home runs all the time, and there's nothing wrong with that. There really isn't. But how many times have you held a position for too long and you were green on it and then it whipped in your face and all of a sudden you had to take a loss? Like that, to me, I interpret that as potentially toxic and I try to avoid it. I like the mentality of taking the money, because guess what? You take the money, you can always jump back in, right? But I
Mm-hmm.
don't like taking large losses. Like, I really don't like taking large losses. It makes me uncomfortable. So I rather take base hits all day than have you know, oh shoot, I just lost 3 grand or 4 grand. I'm gonna have to find my way back for the next couple of days, right?
Yeah.
I try to avoid that as much as possible.
Because you
And
came from a different, like you've talked about losing before. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, and how that
no,
bothered you. So your mindset from before is tailored in, and you're not allowing yourself to fall victim to something that could make you toxic and bring that back in. So you're taking your like breadth of your trading career into like account when you're making your strategy. It's not just about the money you could make. It's you're being real with the person that you are and your mental state as a human being and trader.
I have a rule in my stop loss system where if my account drops 10% from the highs, I must immediately stop for the week, at least 2 to 3 days, and I have to consult with a friend or a mentor to make sure my head is right. Because that's how seriously I take this opportunity, this amazing job. Like you say, this is really the best job in the world. I mean, it really kind of is.
Mm-hmm.
But I recognize how quickly you can lose everything, and that thought alone terrifies the living daylights out of me. And that's my entire trading plan is based on that concept that I could have to look for a job tomorrow, a 9 to 5, if I were to mess this up horribly. So that's why I have strict, stop loss systems. That's why, and people are like, you talk about it a lot, but it's like, listen, if I didn't, I wouldn't be a trader anymore. I would have blown up, the third or fourth month after going full time, with Schwab doing what it was doing. But the fact that I was able to say, Eddie, enough is enough for the day, that's key and that's critical. And a lot of people can't respect that, and it breaks my heart. It's tough, but you have to ask yourself, if you really want to do this long term, are you ready to step away for the day or for the week or even for the month? Like, I have a rule, Gator, that says if my month goes from green, like solid green, to red, I immediately stop for the month. That happened to me last month. I was having a really good month. I gave it all back, and I ended up having a $300 month. And that's when I said, all right, there's 3 days left. I have to stop. I cannot let my month go red. I would be too toxic. And I just said, that's it. I'm done. And that's the type of decision making in the moment, your self OODA loop, in my opinion, that keeps the toxicity away, so that when weeks like this happen, you're ready to go.
Yeah, and you could make your month in a week. Literally, you can make your month in a week.
It depends on your goal. If you're trying to hit,
Yeah.
6 digits and you're doing 3 contracts, okay. But I don't. I trade a small account. I trade small size, and it works just fine for me.
Yeah.
And I think anybody who goes with that mentality is going to be better off than someone saying, I'm just going to keep going until it works. We saw a lot of traders in January when the market changed. They just kept doing the same thing. They didn't have a stop loss. Oh yeah, I'll be out at 5,000 for the day, or I'll be out at $2,000 a day. And then they come to us and they're like, I just lost 40 grand. What do I do? What do you say to someone like that? It's better to just not be in that position in the first place. Not everybody is psychologically able to. I can tell you right now, if I lost 5 digits on the month, which I have a plan that says that won't happen, right? That tries to prevent that. But if that happened to me, I don't think I could come back mentally. It would be just that difficult. So I protect myself as much as I can.
So you protect yourself, and your whole mentality is built around protecting yourself. Have you always been that way as a person or as like a trader? Because a lot of people like, how do I do it? And they say the question, well, what do I do, or how do I do? And I could be like, you just do it. And so that's the easy answer, and the answer that doesn't help anybody is, what do you mean you just do it? And in a sense, that's true. Like, that's the truest answer. It's like, well, how do you get up at 5 a.m. and work out? What do you mean? You set your alarm and you get out of bed and you go do it. Like, there's no secret to it. That being said, how do you do it mentally? Was there something, or since you've been trading, was there something that clicked that Mark said once, or that since you went full time that made you say, okay, I've got to do it? And I know that you've said things like you know what will happen if you have these big losses, so you simply prevent yourself from doing it. But is there a physical, tangible thing that has allowed you to practice that discipline? Because what you're really saying is that you practice discipline in your trading. what is actually like, is there an actual physical or applicable thing that you could tell people or that you could think about that would allow you to actually act on that discipline and follow through with it?
Look, you know my story. I've said it before. I
Mm-hmm.
had a situation where I lost 30 grand in about 2 seconds. Before that, I was all about news flow for a couple months. And you know how I was before, right? Chatter. And I was literally in bed because it's early, right? I had to go to work. I was literally like this. I was in bed. I had my computer on. I was like this. I was half asleep. I would have a headphone in, and then I would hear chatter, American Airlines, and then I would immediately wake up and just slam it. 20, 30, 40 contracts, slam it. And it worked a little bit. I didn't take any huge losses until that one time. But when you have that wake up call and when you have that moment, that epiphany that, hey, what you're doing is horribly stupid, if that's not a wake up call for you to change, then there isn't anything that can help you. You're saying that I'm conservative in the way I trade, but the truth of the matter is I'm terrified of the alternative. I'm terrified, literally mortified, just horrified of what happens if I tilt, if I bend too much. Like, I have a family, I've got a wife, I've got dogs, I've got a new place that's more expensive. I want to travel. I want to have kids one day. I want to buy a house at some point when the world isn't crazy. If there isn't one in the next couple of years, I have a lot of plans. And like that, Gator, like that, it could be done. And that thought alone to me makes me say, hey, Eddie, size down. Like, there have been times this week where I was like, I want to take 5 contracts at Tesla right now. It's sus. I'm just going to size down to 2 or 3 because that's my gut saying, hey, remember how hurt you got last time being an idiot, And a lot of people say, well, scared money doesn't make money. Guess what? Blowing up doesn't make money either. And I'm very, very happy not having those big red days. And for me, my stop loss day, that number, I know you have a really interesting system. I've given a lot of thought. Is it your 4-day average P&L divided by 4 or times 4, something like that?
Yeah, it's a week. Basically, I take my last 5 days of trading week average, and that's my stop loss. Like whatever the average I've made in those 5 days, my rolling 5 days is my stop loss.
That's really interesting. I've thought about that one a lot, I'll be honest with you. But mine is, what number can I lose and not be toxic? And I've identified that number. It used to be $200. It really was $200 a long time ago. Now it's 2,000. So if I lose 1999, I'll be fine. If I lose 2001, I'm not happy with myself because it shows that I didn't have the discipline to stop. Right? So the one day this month that was really toxic, I lost more than that too. And I was unhappy. It's like my plan failed. I messed up. But I had another day where I lost, like less than that, but it was still a red day. And I was like, okay, I can make that back. I'm not toxic. I don't mind. So as long as you can come up with a way for you to stop, that's what's most important. For me, it's very easy. This is what happens if I lose more than 2,000. You ready? Oh, Fidelity is off. Hands up, walk away. That's it. That's what I do. I don't go back to Fidelity. I'll immediately text you or Geronimo or other friends I have in there and be like, yo, I just lost this. I'm out. I'm done. I'm not coming back. Just so you know, I'm turning everything off, and I walk away, and that's it. And that has saved me just everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
And that's discipline. And what you have is you have long-term gratification, long-term success as more of a priority than reaching your, like you say, I have all of this stuff. Well, what you're saying is that you have all of these different things and you realize you're going to meet those goals over the course of 5 years, not over the course of the next month.
Yeah. I have in my rules that 10%, right? So I do a standard size every morning. Everything I make, at the end of the day, I take out. But if that count drops 10%, I have to walk away and evaluate what's going on. And it's happened to me 3 times in the last 2 months. And all 3 times I've come back because I've been able to say to myself, okay, let's adjust. Let's figure out what to do. Let's take small size. Let's get some momentum going. Give me a green day, give me 2 green days. Boom, I'm back. That time between that 10% drawdown and getting it back, it was a week and a half the first time. I got it down to 3 days. So I'm slowly, teaching my mind that, hey, even though you're down, you can come back. So there's no point in slamming. There's no point in praying to the stop God saying, oh my God, I hope this works. That long-term mentality, like Khan is saying, it's the difference between people who want to do this forever and people who are just praying that, it's gambling, right? Just hoping that it works. How many times have you heard from failing traders who have failed, who have lost it all, saying, but that one trade could have made it all back. If I would have just held it a bit longer, I would have made all that money back. No, think about what happened to Geronimo this week. He took a large loss in Facebook. He could have slammed that beyond news flow, but his trading plan said, nope, you're in this for the long run. This is what you're doing. This is how you make your money back. And he could have made his money back. I'm sure he could have done that if he would have slammed it, but it could have tilted him hard. He's very aware of that. And you always talk about your self-OODA loop. That's critical in this industry, in this business, because this is not a business that if you lose everything, nobody's coming to help you. Unless you have a parent with $1 million, great, different story. But there is no safety net. If you're done, you're done. And if that doesn't terrify you, then I would definitely have a very tight risk management plan, because imagine you lose your ability to trade. I can't. I've had days where I think, like, I hope I'm not on a rain here. But
no, you're good, man.
I've had days where I'm like, I'm down this amount. Do I have to get a 9 to 5 tomorrow? That type of mentality, like, is it over for me? And and the truth of the matter is, we all have that, like, oh my God, has everything changed? Can I never make money again? But
you might even have it for like a week or two, or even a month. It's like, you're just like, yo, like, even if you're not going broke, you're just like, yo, last month I was like printing money. Like, I had an ATM that was linked to the Federal Reserve and they'd give me whatever I wanted. And now it's like, this is like hard. I'm not sure. I'm losing confidence in myself. And that can start hitting you. And when that starts hitting you, that's that danger zone, like, where, you're really worried, and it can really start affecting how you trade. It can affect your confidence in your trades. If you are outsizing and you're trying to macho through that and just be a man, like our fearless leader here, macho man from the top rope, slam everything. If you're like that and you're going to be a man, you can actually hurt yourself beyond repair, because you're just going to compound the issue. But if you practice discipline and long-term, like that long-term mindset of long-term goals and success, and sticking with your rules and your plans and trusting the system you have in place, you can get through that, find a way to gain your self-confidence back, start putting some wins together. And it's amazing what following the rules you set for yourself does. Like, I wonder, as you're having hard days and you're struggling for you, and then you're coming out of them and you're like, I'm hitting my goals, I'm trading really well, okay, here we go. When you look back at it, how do you feel because you're successful following your goals? Like, does that give you an extra sense of, like, confidence in yourself or in your trading plan and stuff, as opposed to maybe just punching your way through it and making a ton of money, or doing something like you're following the rules and on the back end of that you're having success? Do you have some type of confidence looking back at your system after that allows you to continue to do what you're doing, as opposed to the trader who would break the rules, make money, and then, kind of maybe go back in the rules?
So eventually, I imagine you're going to have a show on setting up your brand new gorgeous office in your lovely new home. When that day comes, I'm very excited for it. But I will tell you that in my layout, I have a special area where I can quickly access my trading plan. And I review it before I start the day, while I'm trading. It's always there to remind me, hey, this is what you need to do. And it tells me, don't bend, don't chase, no FOMO. And I have it set so that I can quickly read it and I can quickly know, like, hey, don't chase. That's right, Eddy, silly you. Oh, dumb trades kill your day. I'm very, very, like, if I have a really small green day, but I traded well, I feel amazing. There are days where I've made, like, I've had killer days, but I was just bending like a fool. And I didn't feel good, because I'm sitting there thinking, this isn't the long-term plan. I got lucky. It could have gone horribly wrong. So, a trading plan is important. I think what's more important is to recognize when your trading plan has stopped working and when it needs to be adjusted. That's for me is the critical part. We talk about consistency. We don't talk about flexibility enough, adapting to the market. I think that's what we do really well, especially, yourself, where you're saying, okay, this worked, this didn't work, I lost here, what can I change? I mean, if you're not doing that on a regular basis, at least through journaling at a very minimum, I think you should ask yourself some questions. Name a single business that doesn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Name a single successful business that doesn't constantly evaluate what it's doing.
Yep. And you're treating yourself like you wouldn't run a business,
Yeah.
You're sitting there like, I'm good, I'm just going to go through it. You're not actually thinking like, is there a reason these things aren't happening? I heard something and someone said, sit in your bed and think about one thing, try to find one thing you're doing wrong. And if you could change that, you would be successful. But don't just name it. Sit there and actually think through it and do something our culture doesn't do, which is meditate, and meaning like not like the spiritual Eastern stuff, but like actually meditate on it and think. And hang on one second.
Yeah, go.
One of the kids are crying. And the wife just said she was going to bed, so I'll see if she gets him or not, or if he calms down. But actually spend time thinking through that topic as a whole. Think through your actual issue as a whole, and find out why you think that this is happening, and things you could do to actually correct it. I've got to go get this kid really quick. You want to kind of run with that unless you got something else? I'll be right back. Oh,
Yeah,
never mind.
sure.
Never mind. She got him.
Okay. So what was the question?
So nothing. I was just running with it. Was just like, so basically, in a sense, take time as a trader, as a business person outside to be like, okay, evaluate. Like, now's a good time to do it. It's the end of the month. You can look back at your month. Man, if I could change this in trading, well, why am I not changing this? So let's say instead of doing what Eddy says, you're blowing out, you're not following your rules, you traded really well, but you absolutely had one day and you just wiped yourself out. Or 2 days or whatever it was, and you're tilting and you're doing things that you can't fix. Okay, why don't you sit down and you spend a little bit of time and you just sit there and you think about how you can correct the one thing that is causing you the most issues. What is it in your psyche that is making this happen, that is allowing this to happen? Is it something you can control? Is it something you can't control? What is it? What do you need to do? Like, let's spend some time with yourself thinking through the reason that you're having this issue in your off time, and be honest with yourself about it, and be honest with a possible solution to it.
Yeah, I mean, I think meditating, whenever I think meditating, I always think of hippies. Like, I don't know why, but maybe it's because I'm from California, maybe. But whenever I think meditating, for me, what that really means is you just close your eyes and you literally think about your day, what you could have done, how you could have done it, what you could have improved on. There's a trader in the room who I used to work with back in the day at a completely different job in a different world. And I always told him that I would always whenever I would leave work, I would have to walk to the bus stop, which is a 20-minute walk. And I would think about how my day went. I would go through every hour. What could I have done better, so on and so forth. And to this day, I think that's the best thing you can do as a trader, because if you're not self-OODA looping, if you're not saying, spending 10 minutes after the bell and just relaxing and being like, okay, this is what happened. It was a big day or it was a bad day, whatever it was. If you're not actually taking the time to self-evaluate how you performed, you're doing yourself a really big disservice. Like, when you were at your last job, you've had one-on-ones with your boss, right? You'd had that yearly one-on-one or quarterly one-on-one. We've all had those. I do that to myself daily, because I know that all it takes is one day where things go wrong and it's over. So I make sure, like you say, that I meditate every day. I imagine in my head what went wrong, what I did, and I replay it to make sure that, hey, next time I'm ready for it. That's how I handle news flow. I actually meditate and think about, if news flow happens, what do I do? And I literally sit there and I'm just thinking, I'll do this, I'll do that, and I'm prepared to sell, and I'm out. I have that replaying in my head over and over and over. So that's why I'm really happy I wasn't there for the Facebook catastrophe, because I know myself, I would have probably taken it, even though I don't take news flow, but that's one I would have taken. And because I played that over in my head 1,000 times, that scenario. So meditating, it's not so much meditating, it's pre-gaming, right? It's looking at the past, but it's also preparing yourself for the future. So I think it's a beautiful thing. I really want to answer someone's question in YouTube. May I?
Yeah, go for it.
NASCAR All Out. How do you prevent yourself from feeling like Superman and overtrading after a big win? That is probably the best question we'll get tonight. Because, like, I'll tell you, like, today I had a really nice day in the morning and I just turned Fidelity off, and I really, really, really wanted to turn on Fidelity and start trading again. But I said to myself, nope, not doing it. The reason I'm bringing this up is because whenever you have a big day, it's very easy to think, oh, that's it, I've cracked the market, I'm going to just do the same thing tomorrow with more size, and then most people tend to give it back, right? I think it's really easy as a trader, and Gator, tell me if you agree with this, to go in automatic mode. So you're not even thinking anymore, you're kind of just trading, it's just happening, it's become so in your blood, you're not giving it thought. The problem with that is that no 2 days are alike. So once you have that understanding that no 2 days are alike, no 2 mornings are alike, Tesla's different every day. Whether you like it or not, every day it's different. And as long as you remind yourself, hey, today's a different day than yesterday, just because Tesla worked yesterday doesn't mean it's going to work today. As long as you come in and you're evaluating what, the market, and you're analyzing the early morning news flow and any upgrades and what the market's doing, and you don't come in that what's it called, autopilot mode, I think that's really, really important in NASCAR All Out. And someone like Gator, who's likes to slam trades as he does and hold for longer and stuff like that, it's very easy to just say, oh, I'm just going to keep doing this until it stops working. But that one time it stops working where you've stopped thinking could be a really disastrous morning for you, or afternoon, or whatever. So that self-awareness that, hey, I had a good day, it doesn't mean tomorrow is going to be good. I think for me that was huge. And that happened to me this month, where I was like, oh, I'm making money. Oh, I'm making money. Same thing, same time, whatever. I'm making money. All of a sudden, I'm not making money. Oh, shoot, I'm not making money. The market has changed. I need to adapt, right? That self-OODA loop that Gator likes to discuss, I think, is critical. And if you have a really good day and a really big day, listen, there's nothing wrong with just sizing down the next day and be like, I just killed it. Why do I need to work? Why do I need to stress? But everybody's different. NASCAR All Out. No 2 traders are alike. So how you handle that is really up to you. Just make sure that, look, if you make money and then you lose it, there's no point of even trading, right? It's all about either keeping your gains or you're not. So do whatever it takes for you to be in the zone that next day and say, hey, yesterday was a one-off. I made a lot of money. That's wonderful. Today is a new day. I'm going to treat it as an entirely new day and as if yesterday never happened.
Yeah, and it's kind of NASCAR to go off of what Eddy, and I agree with what Eddy said, but to go off of what he's saying too or if you're talking about a single trade within the day trading, or a single trade, or a massive win. Because a lot of times at the end of the day, I'll feel like Superman. But the trick with a single trade is, can I stay within my OODA loop? And this is something I've tried to develop with myself, is bringing myself to reality after massive wins. Because I bought, one of the reviews I might do is, I bought Tesla here as this ticked up. I sold somewhere up here, not at the top, but somewhere up here. I then was looking for a re-entry, and I think I took a loss or two, and I was like, hang on, this doesn't feel right, because it hit a moving average and didn't go up. Like, generally, in a really strong bull trend, here it rips up if it's going to keep going. Now, it didn't. It did this, and it chopped around. This is a 1-minute chart. What did it do on a 2-minute chart? It bounced around. I traded Facebook instead of this and made money, and that was fine. But I try to bring myself back into my OODA loop of what I'm looking for in the next trade. So I instantly go, or I try to force myself to go into my actual next trading plan. And that goes, in a sense, daily, or within an intraday trade. So if I smashed a trade here and I caught 4 to 5 points on a few contracts, and then it pulls back down, the thing the thing I start doing, and that I've been forcing myself to do, is I do everything I can not to look at, okay, man, I'm about to hit another 4 or 5 points, and I'm going to be like, boom, 5-figure day, I'm good to go. Like, and I fight that mentality coming in my head. And I'm like, what am I looking for my next trade? What is the level 2 looking like? And I try to go straight to technicals in my head. And I'm like, all right, good. That trade's done. I don't even care where it's at. What am I looking at? What just happened here? All right, so this trade went up. All right, so we went up here. Let's say we sold somewhere up here. Maybe we buy this breakout. It didn't really go. There's a topping wick there. Broke out again. All right, I think it's pulling down. It's not really exploding. Volume slowing down. All right, I'm going to let this go down. It hit a moving average. Let's wait. Oh, it's going through the moving average. Oh, it popped up. And maybe you caught a trade here, maybe you didn't, and it's kind of chopping around in this area. I'm gonna leave it alone. So I'm trying to go through my OODA loop of the next trade and how I want to trade that trade, as opposed to thinking about the money I can make, or the amount of like my P&L and where it's at and where I could be at. And man, I'm about to make my whole month here. I'm about to make this. Same thing if you take it from the micro of the day to the macro of, or the day trade, the single trade, to the macro of your day. You're at the end of your day, and my Superman, freaking first ever $2,000 day, first ever $10,000 day. I'm the, about to be a millionaire, and I just do this every day. And you're fighting that. At the end of the day, it's like, hey, what did you do this morning? You sat down, this was your trading plan, nothing, like you had a bias as far as you're looking at the market. You identify, hey, and this looks weak, an hour breakdown. I'm looking for the Qs to fail this level. I'm looking for Tesla to fail this level or hit this level. So you have those biases of what will happen when you get there. But you're on the day, I'm like, okay, you had that. I sit down the next day. It's not about what I did the previous day. It's sitting down and it's like, all right, what I'm looking at, I'm looking for a trend. I'm looking for strength, relative strength or weakness to the market. I'm trading that relative strength or weakness to the market. That's what I'm going to do tomorrow. So I stay within my OODA loop, as opposed to getting into an emotional state of like, I'm Superman, or I'm not Superman. And so I train myself to think in terms of my trading plan and my OODA loop, not how I feel for catching a move, not how I feel for having a 5 or 4-figure day, but how I feel like what I'm looking for to be successful, and what trades I'm taking, where I'm entering. Am I waiting for the pullback? Like in this trade here, if I really liked Tesla and I caught it and it broke out, and I'm like, you know what? I don't like it until it hits this 21. All right, it hit the 21, and then I took it off the 21. That's what I needed to have happen. I identify that, and I'm like, okay, that's what I'm looking at. And so I begin to focus on those things, as opposed to focusing on the P&L, because the P&L is a result of good choices, good mindset, not a result of, being Superman. Because if you think you're Superman, the market will correct you very quickly.
And I think there's something very important here that I've always been wanting to talk about this on a show like this. I guess we'll do it now, but it's very easy to be patient, waiting for the right setup, for the right shot as a sniper, when your P&L is at or near all-time highs, right? It's very easy when you've made your money and you're happy and you're not toxic to be there like, I'm going to wait for VWAP to hit, or I'm going to wait for the perfect trade. But when you've lost money and you're trying to come back, you're going to take dumber trades. And it's so important to catch yourself in that mindset. And that's something I've been doing really well lately, is saying, hey, just because you've lost money in the last couple of days doesn't mean you should be over trading or trying to get it back. What you should be doing is following your trading plan that says, take the 2-minute into the 5-minute, take the C strategies, Kelly it, whatever. right? It's that continual following of that plan that really gets you to that calm state of trading. I've noticed, like you may or may not have noticed, but I speak very quickly because I'm a very high energy person. It's not always a good thing. You might wonder when it comes to trading, but learning to calm yourself down and trading smart, it plays on itself, right? It's what's the opposite of a vicious cycle?
A lame cycle?
No, like a vicious cycle when things are going down, like spiraling out of control down. Well, it's the opposite, right? It spirals in control. It feeds on itself. That's what I meant to say. It feeds on itself because you're like, okay, I'm trading smart. If I keep doing this, I can continue to make money toxic free. So that's one thing that's so important when trading is just to have that mentality and remind yourself, hey, if you're up money, is it a virtuous cycle, Dan? I've never heard that, but
Virtuous
it
cycle?
sounds great. Virtuous cycle, is that true? Okay, great. Well, yeah, it just feeds on itself. And by the way, um, looking at the 2 minute chart of Tesla, the first two minute green take reds would have made your month. Did you notice that today?
Well, today, yeah, this here, and
Yeah,
then
like trading on Tesla has been really, really good.
that,
And
yeah.
everything we were just saying, keeping that strong psychology, journaling, or not journaling, a trading plan, all that, we say it because if you keep to it, you're going to be mentally sharp when the time to slam comes. That's what's so important. There's a lot of traders right now who missed this entire week of phenomenal trading because they were so toxic from the past. And it's so important to be able to get that mindset back. So that's what I admire, in you as a trader is that toxicity, whether or not you have it, I don't know, but you don't show it. And you certainly are able to handle tough trading environments. Yeah, going golfing, screw it. I don't need to be here. That's so important. That's something I struggle with. Like, I love the market. I know you love the market,
Oh
but you
yeah.
don't love it like me. Like, I love what we do. It's the most fun thing in the world after planes, right? And
Hmm.
when I come in the morning, like it's horrible to wake up at 5 in the morning, but I do it quickly because I'm so excited to be here. So, yeah.
Yeah, I there's been points, man, where it's like I don't like the weekends because I can't trade, and it's like maybe I should do crypto because it's like I just want to
So
trade.
dangerous. So dangerous. Listen, I'm going to tell you, someone told me something really, really great once. They said successful traders look forward to the long weekend. Failing traders look for every single opportunity to make their money back.
Hmm.
I love that. I mean, I paraphrased the heck out of it, but the
Yeah.
point is that, like, yeah, the weekends kind of suck because the market's closed and you're not having fun trading, but that's a good thing. That means you're being successful. Your mind needs to rest, right? Like, if you do crypto 24/7, you'll never sleep again
Oh yeah.
because you'll always see an opportunity. There's always a Mark One somewhere, right? It's
Oh
always
yeah.
happy hour somewhere. There's always a Mark One somewhere. So that's the reason I don't do crypto is that 24/7 nature to me would destroy me as a person. It's important to know that.
Yep. Yeah, I'm not doing it. It's more of a joke, But I'm not. It's like I love my weekends now and stuff, but there's been times it's like, man, I love this job. I love what I do. And then there's this equal times when you're having a hard time and you can't do it. You're like, this is the stupidest thing ever, you know. And it's kind of like I try to find that happy medium to even when I'm having my Superman days. And it's like, hey, like today I didn't have a nanny. I was just here. I had the boys. It's like I had I think I don't know if it was. I didn't look at my final P&L, but I think it was my best day of the week and a very very good week. And I was just like I played with my kids for most of the day. I had a good time. It's like some of my best days. I'm like I come in, I scalp a few trades, I go golfing. It's like that is part of, or I go to jujitsu. Part of that is really helps you stay in a healthy mental mindset towards the market, to where you know that you don't need it, and that you're not getting your fulfillment and your purpose in life out of this, and you're keeping it where it belongs. And where it belongs is it's just a job and a means to an end. And that means to an end is raising a family, is supporting your family, is also being able to enjoy the benefits of it, like golfing at 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. in the middle of the week when there's just a bunch of retired dudes out there. They're like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm an investor, and I'm golfing right now. That's what I'm doing. And there's some fun stuff like that out there. and just having a healthy mindset towards the market, to where the market does not define you as a person, but is simply what you do. And you trade in a way like Eddy is talking about. And in a sense, Geronimo says the same thing, and many other people say the same thing. Kelly says the same thing. His trading strategies, like he says he looks for like 5 or whatever trades a day, that are just these high conviction setups and stuff that he takes. And you have a goal, you have something, you have your OODA loop, you're self-aware of who you are, and you're just consistent with what you do. You do it. The market doesn't control you. You just ride the wave. You have good days and bad days. You make your money, and hey, you're good to go. Like, I don't have to make all the money. There's a million. Most of the people, a lot of people in this room probably make more than I do, and I'm cool with that. I don't care. My ego's not tied up in it. Like, I have losing days. I had a losing day this week. I average probably 1 losing day a week, average, because I trade super aggressive, and I have losing days, and occasionally I'll hit my stop loss, and I'll be like, well, I'll come back tomorrow. And I'll tell you, when I'm in a healthy mindset, I say 90% of the time, I'd have to actually go back and review my trade station stuff, my trader sync. Maybe 80% of the time, the day after a losing day, I make back, if not double, my losing day. Like, it is rare that I have consecutive losing days when I'm mentally healthy and I just like, whatever. And I'm in that like repetitive, healthy mindset towards the market where I just accept losing days, and I come back. It's like 2 days later, it's like, dude, it doesn't even look like I had a losing day this week in my P&L. But when I'm toxic, it's not like that.
Exactly. And you don't care that you had a red day, because you see the long term, right? You're sitting there thinking, I know that what I do works for me in the long run. There will be days where it doesn't work, so be it. But we get a lot of traders. I mean, I get a lot of emails from traders, a lot of traders that I talk to, and they're like, I followed my trading plan, but I had a big red day, but I did everything right. Should I change my trading plan? I'm like, I can't tell you what to do, but how do you feel after your day? He's like, well, I did everything right. It just didn't work. And I'm like, you did it. You're a trader. You nailed it, and that's what's good about what if that works for you. If taking 50 contracts at Tesla every morning on a one and done is good for you, then great. You're going to have red days. There's no doubt about it. And I'm not saying do that, but as long as you're consistent, Khan says in the chat, moderation is key to remaining non-toxic. Consistency is the key, because if you're doing the same thing over and over and over and you have the occasional red day, you'll be fine. I had 4 red days, maybe 4, I don't know, 4 or 5, except for one. All of them were under $500, and I can live with that very comfortably, given where I am in my trading, right? I mean, you pull up that chart often, the $1,000 a day gets you $250 a year, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you think of that mindset, it's the way to go. Like, it's easier said than done. If you're a successful trader, it's doable. When you're not a successful trader, without a doubt, it's harder, and I recognize that. I do. But they say, if you think like a champion, you'll get there, right? Like, as simple as that. I had a boss. My last boss was always like, look, just assume you're going to make money on every file, and we'll be fine. It's like, always be ready to make money, and you're just going to make money, and there you go. And there you go, the chart that you're pulling up now, right? Like, Gator, at that last job of mine, I was making $300 a day, dude.
Mm-hmm.
$300 a day. And if I could make that doing less hours, having fun, not commuting, not having to deal with, well, I miss the people, but stupid, how was your week? Look, it's raining now. Life is good. Life is good.
Yep. It's like there's never and I'm actually going to do this, and I was doing it earlier in the year, but then I've been so busy I'm not trading into accounts, and but once I move, I'm going to do an account, a separate Fidelity account, business account, or E-Trade account or something, and my goal is going to be this, and I'm going to do $2,000 a day in that account. I'm going to trade smaller and hit that number, and I'm going to see if I make more in this account than I do in the one where I'm just trading with a bigger stop loss and stuff, because I bet you, like, people are like, oh, you've got to print these big numbers, and I understand the big stuff, but like, whatever. And I'm gonna just, like, my goal with being that, and my stop loss is gonna be the same number on the downside, and I'm either gonna make or lose $2,000 within the first 30 minutes of the day every day, more than likely, and that's going to be that. And I'll switch to my main account and continue trading. And I'm going to see what account is at more money at the end of the year after like a year of doing it. Yeah, you're welcome, Dan. And it's doing this job. That's a big number, and it can be, but you can work yourself into the consistency of one of those numbers a day and just log off. The problem is that you're not happy with that, and you see more numbers, and you're, like Con is saying, the moderation, like you're going for it all, you're doing this stuff, or you're allowing that tilt day to take out. It's like, yeah, $1,000 a day is great and get you there until you've made $1,000 a day for 25 days, and then you blow 20 of it up in one day because something changed up here, and now 20 of it's gone, and now you're down to like $25 a day average or whatever it is. It's that one day, it's that blow up, it's that controlling that through this market and finding the discipline to get there. That's what's going to get you and keep you there as a day trader, is kind of controlling that, because you're never, I'm not saying never, like who knows what, but if you really do this and you understand what we do in this room, in T3, in the Discord, like if you're trading Mark 1s in Tesla this week and you didn't make $750, like all you had to do, like in 3 trades every day, like Tesla was working in either direction and the Mark 1s were triggering. All you had to do was take the first 2 or 3 Mark 1s and log off, and you were fine. Like there are plenty of days when you can do this. And if you're consistent, you could do it in Facebook and other names too. Like the strategies work.
The strategy, can I tell you? Oh, I have news for you. I don't know if you heard this in the room earlier in the NewsBeat room at T3, but today is my 1-year anniversary as a full-time trader.
Congrats, dude. Welcome to the show for the third. It's a good anniversary thing. I'll be right back. Kids screaming, sitting up in bed. Congrats.
Yeah. I'll tell you what I want to say after. But if anybody has any questions, go for it. But I just want to say, when you're a trader in our room and in our community, you have the benefit of having so many people who care for you and who help you realize when the market has changed. And I think it's really critical to be a part of a community, because trying to do this by yourself, I would not have been able to do it by myself for a year. There's just no way. Having a community of support is critical. And I assume all of you guys agree who are part of our community. Hopefully it's a majority of you. I don't know who's around, but it's important. If anybody has any questions while Gator is gone, go for it. We could hijack his show and do whatever we want, if you think about it. I don't know about you guys, but I think May is going to be a phenomenal trading month. I really, really do. I wish I had the charts up now, but if you look at the monthly charts, the volatility is truly outstanding. What we're seeing right now is so dangerous. Like in the grand scheme of things, it's so dangerous. Like the Qs are moving $10 a day right now. That's crazy, right? And this is a market that can make or break a trader. But if you're in the right mindset, if you can listen to someone like Gator or myself or Geronimo and stay psychologically positive, I mean, the world's your oyster in something like this. One thing I wanted to say, though, now that you're back, Gator, is that, so this is my 1-year anniversary, right? So it's been 1 year since I decided to quit my job and become a full-time day trader. And a lot of people are, always say it's like, it's dangerous, right? You don't know where that income is coming from. You could have a down month. Things could go horribly wrong. And the truth is, but when you have the support of this community, when you have people like yourself that you can talk to, or, people like Geronimo, or the people, look at like someone like Kelly. He has no reason to hang out after hours and talk to us. Yet the other day he spent half an hour after Geronimo's show helping me understand part of his strategy that I didn't understand. Like, that's the type of community we have. And without that, I would have never, ever, ever been able to survive as a full-time day trader. Mm-hmm. It's just wonderful. And I'm so grateful. Like, I think it's obvious, but I'm so grateful to this community. It changed my life. I think it's just the best thing ever. I really do. I mean, the Mark 1 changed my life. Yep. Fidelity changed my life, right? I mean, let's just be real. So the strategies work. And in this environment, sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. But,
that's the thing. It's like, one day somebody gives to you, and then the next day you're giving back to the community, and it's just like this cycle of people helping each other and people getting better and better at this job and better at what they do.
Yeah. I mean, that's what's really this is, and it's funny that you say that. That's why I love this month. I had a really good first week. I gave back half my month, and then I finished this week at my monthly high by, I think I told you, $20 or something like that. Like, it's so easy to just give up and be like, I'm over it, it's done. But to have a community that says, hey, keep going, it's a tough month, we get it, we're with you, it's huge. It's absolutely huge. David in the YouTubes is asking, what recommendation would you guys have for someone to reset over the weekend after screwing up their cardinal rule of not losing big on a Friday? Sorry to be a bummer on a week everyone did so well. David, not everybody did so well. Not everybody did so well. I'll tell you right now, I talked to a lot of traders. Many are having a very tough time. It's okay to screw up on a Friday. It's not okay to break your cardinal rule that should have said, hey, don't screw up on Fridays. So I don't know who you are, David. Maybe you're David. I know there's like 50 Davids in our room, I swear. But
I'll be right back. Kids.
Yeah,
setting up.
go for it. The truth of the matter is, David, is that if you're running a business as a trader, you need to spend time and figure out where things went wrong. Freddie, stop licking your paws. Where things went wrong, and really take the time to be like, hey, I effed up. I did something stupid. That's on me, and I deserve what happened, and I won't let it happen again. And that's what happened to me, David. I gave back half my month like with 3 days, which sucked. And what did I do for the rest of the week? I stopped trading and I said, okay, what did I do wrong? What names are tagging me? Is it a strategy? And I literally went on TradingView and I went through every single trade and I said, okay, this is where I bought, this is where I was out, and I analyzed it and I said, here's all my problems. I was buying at the wrong time. I was buying the wrong contract. I was bending when I shouldn't have been. I was buying an inside candle and selling an inside candle. I was being an idiot. I mean, that if you can't look at your trades, from the outside and say, this is where I went wrong. And if you can't build on that you're in trouble. But work to build on that, David. Be like, okay, I took this candle and it was not a good trade. Here's why. I will learn from it. Did I do that again? Okay, so on and so forth. So David, if that makes sense, great. If not, if you have any follow-up questions, please. I'll just keep going, Gator, because Feeling Bullish Now says, what was your question to Kelly about his fib strat? And if you don't mind me asking, very curious because I'm starting to use their tracement tool. I really like Kelly's narrow states at the open mentality. Feeling Bullish, I know it's not new, but now I'm checking every night to see what names are particularly tight. And what I'll do is in my trading view, I'll put in my watch list like the top names that I'm going to check for the next day. He also has this 3, 5, 8 bars. So the 3rd, 5th, and 8 bars are kind of critical bars to him. So he puts a lot of attention on those. Financing stops is a big one. If it's in a wide state, he'll avoid. So if Tesla's really far away from the 200 or VWAP,
mic off.
Oh yeah, go for it. He'll avoid it. So stuff like that, Feeling Bullish. But what I've been doing is after Geronimo's show, I'll just stick around and go over some of those trades and be like, okay, we could have done a 2-minute green takes red. This would have worked. This would have not worked. And that's how you learn. That's how you develop as a trader. Fibonacci's are awesome. And if that's what you do, great. Go for it, man. Make it yours. It's not what I do, but I can see why people like it. And I appreciate it a lot. I definitely use them on my charts, but I don't use them for trading, like my own personal trading. Would you do a 2K account challenge? No. I have 2K in a swing account where I've been thinking about doing overnights, but that's maybe. I'm not too keen on doing a 2K challenge because it's a little bit of a distraction. It's hard to do when you don't have a big account to try to make money. Like if you're swinging small options, okay, that's interesting, but it's not something I've been too keen on. But apologies if that's not the answer you're looking for.
Mic on.
David, Curbster, I don't know if it's the little or the big Curbster, but he said every Friday I lose money. I'm just going to do the Q's $1 challenge until I can prove I can have a green Friday. Like, that's awesome. I actually really want to do it with him. I keep forgetting, but I really want to do, Gator, I've been thinking about this. If we just got a bunch of people to do the one share Q challenge and just have fun trading and just see how much we can make, I think for like a choppy afternoon, it could be fun. It could
You
be
could
really
actually do
fun.
a challenge because you wouldn't have the issue of the like bragging about P&L. So you could actually do it and see who could make the most money or something like that.
Yeah, but just like if your trading style, if it just you do what you do and I do what I do, and let's just see what happens. It'll be
Hmm.
fun. I mean, if you ever want to do it one of these days, maybe Monday or Tuesday, because it's going to be so choppy given the Fed, it could be very fun. It could be very fun.
It could be. Well, David, to go into your initial question, then I'll follow up on the other stuff you said. It's not a bummer. It's part of it. There was probably a point in your day when you realized you weren't trading well. In my opinion, having how hard is your focus on not having a red day as opposed to just trading well? I say like coming into Friday I'm not trying to blow up. I'm a little bit more cautious or I size down on some Fridays, but in reality I trade how I trade, like pretty much no matter what. So was it your focus on the red day or not having a red day or not breaking that rule or wanting a green day that allowed you to kind of get to that point of losing focus on good trades? If I had to tell something to somebody like, hey, what's done is done. It's like an hourglass. And a lot of people have seen that video or whatever, but it's like it's an hourglass. You pour the sand out. What you have above is what you have in the future. What's down below is past. And you're going to spend all your time that's flowing right now looking back at what's at the bottom and what's already gone through. Now, it's important to assign a reason to that and maybe to meditate or think about what you can change next Friday or next trading day. But in a sense, sit down and you just come into Monday fresh and you look for a good trade. There's nothing you can do about the next day. There's nothing you can do about today. Hey, chalk it up to just tuition to the market. Hey, you learned a lesson. Hey, you survived. You're small red. You didn't blow out. Could have done better. You know what? I'll do better next time. I broke my rules. I deserve to lose. I'm glad I didn't win because I don't want to be rewarded for breaking the rules. It's all good. I'm gonna come back Monday. I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna follow my proper OODA loop. I'm gonna trade smart, and this is just a stupid lesson that I'm gonna put behind me. That's generally how I come back from bad days, including bad Fridays. It's like, well, that stinks. I shouldn't have been stupid. And I just try to come back and continue on with it the next day because that's all you can do. You can't affect what you did. There's nothing you can do. It does feel worse and it does feel bad reading what you're saying, but it's okay, and it's going to be okay if you can sit down Monday and trade. And yeah, sorry, go ahead, Eddy.
Or just take a Friday off. I know that sounds like something you don't want to do, but just take the day, take a Friday. A lot of traders are always sitting there and they're like, I have to trade to make the money back. But like, I don't know about you, but when I take a day or two off, I feel so good after that. I tend to have really good days because I'm refreshed. I'm not mentally fatigued. I mean, think about what just happened, David. You just ran 4 marathons and you're coming into day 5 having to run another marathon. And if you're going to be trading all day, you're going to have mental fatigue. So you need to say to yourself, hey, do I really, really want to, trade on a Friday when I'm exhausted, when I know that statistically I tend to have bad days on a Friday? Ask yourself that and do a self-OODA loop. Like, I'll tell you, like, I know my Fridays tend to be pretty horrible after the first hour. Today, I stopped after the first hour. I was like, I made my money. I'm done. My last trade, I think, was actually at 11-ish. After the first 90 minutes, I was like, I'm done. I know it could get worse from here. I want to go into the weekend toxic free. I'm just going to turn Fidelity off and hang out with the room. That mentality of just taking time off is not a bad thing, in my opinion. And I know it can be seen as a negative, like, oh, you're giving up, or you're missing out on the opportunity to making more money. But that's not a long-term way of thinking. That's a very short-term gratification way of thinking. It's not thinking, listen, your mind is a muscle, it needs a break. David. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
I want to answer Big Op Little Cash's question. Eddie,
Yeah.
not sizing up yet, but planning for when it's time. When I size up from 1 to 2 to 3, do you think it's a good idea to increase the stop loss at the same time? Gator, you're going to give a good answer to this one. My answer would be, it depends how you do your stop loss. Like, think about what Gator does, right? He's doing, he's taking the average of last 5 days and then he has a formula, right? Mine is, I know at X amount I'm toxic, at X minus 1 I'm not, so I'm going to set my stop loss at X. So it really depends on how you establish your stop loss goal. What I can say is, and you know this already, is that you're going to see bigger losses at 2 to 3 contracts than a 1 contract. Not because you're taking more size, because you're worried about losing money. So if you're there taking 1 contract and you lose $20, you're like, okay, fine, I lost $20. But if you take 3 and you lost $60, all of a sudden that number is scary. You're like, oh my God, I sized up. Did I size up at the wrong time? It can get exponentially dangerous. So in my personal opinion, keep that stop loss reasonable, something you can come back from. I know if I lose $2,000 in a day, I can come back in a day or 2, no problem. That is so psychologically reassuring. If I lost $10,000, it would take me, 5 to 10 days to get that money back? That's tough, right? If you're a Gator, you could do it in a heartbeat, right? When you're taking 30, 40, 50 contracts, but not everybody has those cojones. So just make sure that your stop loss plan works for you. And I hope that works. You don't want to max out too fast, without a doubt, is true. But if you're doing 1 contract and your stop loss is $500, let's say, your 2 contracts, it shouldn't necessarily be $1,000. If you're sizing up, Big Ops, if you're sizing up, that means you're confident in your trading, you can do better. You shouldn't have to hit those stop losses as quickly. You should be at a state of confidence and smarter trading where you're comfortable that you don't need to raise your stop loss. You can keep it small so that you have nice big green days and small red days.
Yeah, and I agree. Generally speaking, with what Eddie's saying, I don't there's no. You loosen it up a little bit. Loosen up your, or keep it the same. No, you need to be comfortable with what you're doing. And you need to be comfortable with the size. And the idea with sizing up in a small manner is that you don't really notice that you're winning or losing much. And 2 to 3 contracts, like 1 to 2 is technically doubling, but if you're trading 1 to 3 contracts and then you're going from 2, 4, and 6, you're not going to notice. You're going to notice a little bit, but it's not going to be massive. So if at 500 and hit it, yeah, I mean, like if your stop loss for the day is $500 and you're trading and you're like, you know what, I'm going to size up a little bit. I mean, realistically, yes, you have to. Like, just honestly speaking, yeah, you knock your stop loss up some. Like if you're sizing up and doubling in size or something, like, hey, I'm going to change my default. Yeah, move it from 500 to 1,000, but understand that you need to be okay with that, and you shouldn't even be thinking about it. So yeah, your stop loss should be something like Eddie's saying that you're comfortable. If you're doing a stop loss, it's something that you should be really comfortable with. And to me, I'm comfortable with a 7-day rolling or 5-day rolling average stop at 5,000 of the max. So if 5,000 is the lowest, I'll take my stop loss. But have a little bit of flexibility there as you size up. Sometimes I just tell people, freaking go for it. Like, if you're trading really good, just stop messing around and trade 10 contracts. And that's not necessarily the answer for everybody, but sometimes it's just freaking dive in and do what you got to do to trade. And that doesn't mean get wild, set your rules and your parameters, but if you're just going 1, 2, 3 in contracts and you're going to size up to 5 or something, yeah, move your stop loss to $1,000, $1,500, and just trade normally if you can do that. And that's the trick. What can you do? What can you handle? What can your account handle? Understand that parameter when you're making your daily stop loss.
I could not agree more on some of the things you just said. I think in the last 10 trading days, last 2 weeks, Big Ops, I think there must have been at least half of those days where I'm down 50 to 75% of the way to my stop loss. And now at the point of my trading, I'm just there ugh, why do I do this to myself? I now have to fight back to go green, and I know I will be green. I I have such confidence in my trading that I can get back to that level, which is a wonderful thing, which is not a given. It takes time to get to that level, but when you're there and you're like, oh, I'm down 1,500. Oh, now I have to fight back and make it back. Well, I guess I'm just gonna have to do it. Like today, I was down. I think the first 3 or 4 Tesla trades, I can't remember why, but I just ended up, I was like down 1,200 or 1,300, which is like more than halfway to my stop loss. And I was like, Eddy, you did it again. You've done this before. You know how to come back, take a smart trade, and fight your way back. And the thing is, big ops, is that at some point you're going to hit that stop loss and it's going to feel horrible. But the more and more you hit it, which I hope isn't often, you'll learn how to come back and you'll learn how to become a better trader. So that's almost why I almost like hitting my stop loss sometimes, because it's like a reminder of, hey, wake up, you did something wrong, refresh, reset your mind. But it also helps me understand myself as a trader. I just get better every time I get stopped out. I really do. I got stopped out, I think 3 times in the last 2 months, and I've come back so well every time. And I'm proud of myself for that. So use the stop out as almost a point of being proud that you followed your rules, but also proud that you stopped when you should have. Like, how many people, raise your hand virtually or actually.
Smash the like button if you...
Yeah. Smash the like button if you said you would be done at $500 red and you kept going, right? Like, it's happened to all of us, but controlling that is so critical. Yeah, and David, guess what? I'll be honest with you. I finished at day high P&L. Why? Because I was like, wow, okay, I figured out what I was doing wrong. I will adjust, kept going, kept trading, hit day high P&L. And I was like, I feel so good right now. I'm turning off Fidelity. That's my day. I could have kept going. I could have double, tripled, quadrupled my day. But instead, no, I took the psychological win.
Yep. And I was actually at a different point today. I was at the same thing as Eddy. I actually hit my goals that I needed to hit today. And then my kids woke up and I went and played with them. And I came back and I sat down and I was like, let's see what's going on. And I was just kind of in the groove mentally after I put them back down to bed, and I was making some trades. And I kept trading and actually added about 50-60% to my P&L on the day. And honestly, though, the trick is I was totally happy with just walking away. And I had like almost a secondary stop loss in my head. I'll give myself a few trades here. Let's see what I can do. I'm going to size down to 2 to 3 contracts as opposed to 10 to 20. And I'm going to just scalp some Tesla puts because we're in a clear downtrend at the end of the day. And these are kind of easy levels. Buy at the top of these and short them. And there was some of these things happening. And I was just letting it play a little bit. And I was kind of cool with it. And neither one, like Eddy... If I take what Eddy's saying here, I would never go broke and never have a bad day. The trouble is sometimes I do what I did today and I tilt and give back all of my day. And I've accepted that as part of like when I sit back down is because I have that like aggressive ability that I will sit down and I will be up a 5-figure day and I'll just be trading 2 to 3 to 5 contracts as opposed to 10 to 20. And I'll be like, hey, let's see what's going on. I think I can scalp some of this. And I'll start scalping, and I'll give back 90% of my day. And it can totally happen. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with just being like, yo, I'm good with today. I'm out. And heck, freaking do that, especially as you're sizing up. You should not always sit back down and try to make more or catch more.
The 3 times, Gator, in the last 2 months where I had a relatively large drawdown in my account, the day before, every single time I was having a nice day and I gave it all back before the end of the day. Every single time. I had one day where I was up solidly and I ended up $100. I ended up losing 10% of my account the next week. And I've noticed that in myself, that if that happens, it just, because you're there, so I want to make that money back. Oh, I messed up. I can make it back, so on and so forth. But that's such a dangerous mentality if you don't know yourself as a trader. So that's in my trading plan that if I have one of those days, next day, you micro goal those first 2-3 trades. Make sure you're okay. I think it's just so critical. I know I talk about my trading plan and these rules, but they're ingrained in me for a reason because that's how you survive.
And for those of you that are having a hard time, ingraining rules in you is discipline. Like, people try to make this sound complicated, and in a sense it's not. I have different rules than Eddy because I'm a different person than Eddy, and just mentally I can handle things, but and it doesn't make me better or worse, but we all have different strengths and weaknesses. You need to ingrain the rules in yourself that are going to make you successful. Like, you have to do that as an individual and as a trader. Find the things that are going to make you successful and the most successful, and then do them.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to do that. And you have to apply them to yourself and actually stick to them and follow them. Otherwise, like, you're not going to make it because you don't even respect the own rules that you make for yourself.
Well, so let's talk about this for a second, because a lot of people have been asking, how do you come up with a trading plan? A trading plan here's how I see a trading plan. If Gator sends me a document with his trading plan, I should be able to read his trading plan and imitate his trades perfectly. So for me, a trading plan consists of three things: what to trade, when to trade, and when to stop. So what to trade: C strategies, 2 minutes, Kelly style trades, whatever. When to trade: oh, I'm going to be done after the first hour. I'm only going to trade power hour. I'm going to avoid CNBC hour. I'm going to avoid news flow hour, or not news flow hour, but news flow type plays. And then your stop loss is when you stop, when you say enough is enough. So I challenge everybody who's listening to this fantastic show tonight to come up with a trading plan of what to trade, when to trade, and when to stop, and make it so easy to understand and so succinct to you, not to me or Gator, to you, and make it something that you can be proud of and you review every morning, and that keeps you in the zone and disciplined. I think that truly is. Hey, what's up, Naveen? How's it going? I think that's truly the key to success when it comes to trading. And there's nothing wrong with putting it on paper. I mean, if you don't know yourself as a trader, that's one thing. I get it. But like, I'm looking at my trading plan right now. I have it open all the time because it's part of me. It's it's a business plan. Would you have a startup without a plan, Gator? Would you sell ice cream without knowing what the plan is? No, you wouldn't. You would have a plan. You would have an account.
My stupid self, probably. But no, generally speaking. No.
Generally speaking, if you were starting a business, you would have a plan.
Yep.
I wanted to start a business recently with a friend. We decided against it, but we went through all the planning necessary. We wrote everything out, and it was important because if you can't put it on paper, you don't know your trading plan.
Yep. You need to understand what you're doing and why you're doing it. And honestly, David, you just hit the nail on your head. And it's not a Friday thing. The Friday thing is something you're creating. Friday is just another day. Fridays have been some of my best days. Friday is just a day. It's because you have it in your head that Friday is a big day. But what you're saying is that you weren't mentally strong enough to continue trading, and you were toxic because you saw a trade that you wanted, let's say Geronimo's Amazon short, and you took it. You were too scared to take it, and then you were mad at yourself all day. That's a realization and something that you should think through and spend a little bit of time working out with yourself, because that's something you have to get over. Like, that's something that you have to work through as a trader, because you miss, let's say, a call out or whatever, and then it actually bothered you. Think through that and kind of work through that on your own to figure out why and what and how and what you could do differently. Like, there were a ton of trades throughout the day. Like, yeah. So you missed one trade. Why did that bother you so much? You worried about the money? Oh, you missed 30 points? Is that what it was? Like there's something off there, if you know what I'm saying.
Very quickly, I just checked my stats. I did not realize Fridays are my best day of the year and the month. So good to know.
Yeah.
Do me a favor, Gator. Can you pull up a 2-minute chart of Amazon today?
Yeah. And then also, you told me you had to go around 10:30. It's definitely past that. So
yeah, dinner's in 10 minutes. I have 10 minutes.
All right, Eddie's got 10 minutes.
I got 10 minutes. Okay.
What time you want to look at?
Remove my face and just show me the first. Just show me a 2-minute of Amazon. David, this is for you. I want you to see something here. Okay. Is this a 2 minute?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't remember where Geronimo entered. I'm going to assume it's that fifth candle. I would assume it's somewhere around there. Yeah. If you look at a
This.
chart of Amazon, every time it broke day lows, you have a bit of a chart reset, right? You have your strategies start, you start with your one and done, you start with your 1 minute, your 2 minute, your 5 minute, your 15 minute strategies. There were so many opportunities today in Amazon. So many opportunities. Can you pull up the last 2 hours, please?
The 2 hour chart or just this the
No, no,
end of the day?
the last 2 hours, yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
zoom. Okay, stop right there. Stop right there. So you see where you hit VWAP right there? Yeah, yeah, right there. See, you have a trade there. Then you have another green takes red. Then you have 2 minute breaks down. This is just the 2 minute chart. I see unlimited amount of opportunity to make money in this, David. So just because you miss a trade, too bad. Guess what? It happens. I missed this one on purpose, but I think the contracts I was looking at moved like 7 or 8 points. I was disgusted how gorgeous it was, but whatever. If you have FOMO in this market, David, FOMO to me is the lack of realization that there's a dozen opportunities every hour for you to make money. And if your trading plan, like my trading plan tells me the C strategies are great, time frame continuity trades are great. I butchered that word, but 2 to 5 minute portals are great. 2 minute reversals are great. I mean, Kelly strategies. I just named 5 different strategies I can employ on this name, and there's tons of scalping opportunities. Now, if you were to just take 2 minute reversals all day, are there less opportunities? Yes. But just because Geronimo took a trade and you didn't, it shouldn't turn you toxic. It shouldn't FOMO you because, I mean, you could have look at all the opportunities there were today. I mean, I know if you don't know all the strategies, you'll say like, what are you talking about, Eddie? But I mean, if you could zoom in at 1 p.m., 2 p.m. Gator for me real quick. You see that bull flag into the, what is that, the 8?
like right here where I've got
Uh,
the.
keep, uh, uh,
This is 2 p.m.
2:15 p.m. Sorry, 2:15 p.m. I mean, look at that. Look at that green takes red. Look at that green takes red.
Are you talking about in Amazon?
Yeah, right there. Exactly there. You would have had red takes green. My apologies. Red takes green on that candle right there. That one. That would have made your month on a move like that. Amazon moving 20, 30 points on a Friday like that, those puts must have exploded. And look at the next candle. Tweezer top, a red takes green. You could have either added or taken the scalp at a little after 2:30. I mean, these opportunities are endless. So never ever feel bad you missed a trade. Never ever kick yourself, never ever be toxic, never be FOMO because you're not realizing how many opportunities there are every day. There's 3,000 stocks in the market. I would assume at least half of them have a million shares. But that's not true. I would assume at least a third have a million shares or more trading, which means to me they're liquid. If you have all these strategies, you have all these opportunities. It's glorious, if you ask me.
Yeah, and David, you just said it there. And this is and I appreciate you asking the question and talking about your day. Really do. And you mentioned that the key word is that you're mad at yourself because you were afraid. You're mad at yourself because you knew it was a good trade and you didn't take it. You saw the setup and you didn't take it. That isn't, I choose when I see stuff like that or when I did see stuff like that as not a negative, but as a positive. So I look at things like that when I see it and I didn't take it as not as a missed opportunity, but as a future opportunity. And I identify, okay, I liked it because of these things. And it's like a movie that I've seen. And it was like I was talking about and Rose mentioned this week when Tesla was selling off. I've seen this movie before. I'm in no way scared to throw the entire account size that I'm trading into this short. Because I have full confidence in this because I've seen this movie before. Musk is selling, and I am not afraid to short this. Same thing for like the Amazon short that you missed. You're looking at it, and instead of being negative at it and being like, man, I'm pissed at myself for missing this, you know what? I knew that was a good trade. Now, I was scared and I didn't take it. Maybe I should size down. Maybe I should whatever it was. We could talk about that another time. But you know what? I saw that and identified it. It's a positive. All right. So I trust my ability to actually see a good trade. I am becoming a better trader. I spotted something. Geronimo called it out. I said, I really like that. Okay, I was scared to take it. Let's throw that out the window. Who cares? Okay, I was scared to take it. All right, I'm going to find a way to get over that fear of taking it, but I like that. All right. Now I'm going to put this in my head as a win for me mentally, because as a trader, I'm identifying a good trade that I should have taken. All right, maybe next time I try it. And there was nothing wrong with not taking it today, because honestly, Amazon day after earnings, like it's a scary name to trade. You had wide spreads, you had all this other stuff. You could get wrecked 5, 6, 7 points in Amazon, and then the trade would have gone in your favor for 30 points. It's not an easy name to trade. You shouldn't beat yourself up for missing or being scared to trade the hardest name in the market. So identify the positiveness in the fact that you saw the trade, you really liked it, and then it worked, and maybe apply that to a future time when you see that same whatever it was that you liked setting up. Hey, this is happening again. I really like this. I'm going to give it a shot this time. And so put that positive spin on it in your day. You can also put that positive spin on it now that you're looking back at it, and realize that it wasn't wrong for you not to take the trade on a name. I didn't take that trade, and that can help you like put a positive spin on stuff like that.
I think everything you said, I'm good with, Gator, but you said one thing that I think really is important here, David. Gator just said Amazon is the hardest name in the market. Not only was it the hardest name in the market, did you guys know this was one of the worst weeks for the market in a long time? I think we were down 13% on the month, 22% on the year. I mean, this was a horrible week for longs, right? And now you have Amazon coming in to report earnings. Those option premiums on a Friday, if you're on a Fidelity, you can't trade till next week. To me, David, I didn't trade at Amazon because I knew the opportunity to get hurt was pretty large. And there's other names that are working, and I just don't need to trade Amazon on a Friday with high premiums after earnings. It's just too wild. So I think that there's a little bit of a good, you're saying there's FOMO, you missed the trade, or your gut is protecting you from potentially getting hurt in what could have been a trade that goes against you. Like, I know that sounds, I mean, for me, if you take two contracts on Amazon, I am sweating bullets. I am distressed. Gray hairs coming in. My heart rate's exploding. My Apple Watch is like, "Are you still alive, bro? Your heart stopped." But if I take 10 of a Square or 10 of a Netflix or even 5 of a Tesla, I'm a lot more comfortable. Amazon is truly a difficult name. My biggest wins and losses have come from Amazon. So I don't think there's anything wrong with you saying, "Oh boy, I hate Fridays. Amazon sucks. I'm going to miss this name because I don't want to go toxic into a weekend." That said, Amazon's splitting in a month or two. Who knows what, that could change everything for us. But, there's nothing wrong with just missing a trade. Like this morning, my Fidelity wouldn't open for 5 minutes. You think I got flustered? No. I was like, I have all day to make the money. I'll be fine. Just don't let FOMO ruin a trading career, David.
Yeah. And really, for 2 questions really quick, I don't want to miss, was it Taliban Tio? You asked earlier, would we do a 2K account challenge? I don't know if you answered that, Eddie. I'm doing one, but it's a 5K account challenge, probably in August later this year, September in the fall. I'm going to start a 5K challenge. So if you subscribe to this channel, you'll see it. So definitely subscribe, notifications and all that. I'm going to do a 5K challenge. And then you just ask the second question, do I trade multiple names? No, I'm almost never in 2 names at once. I'm a scalper, single name trader at a time. Sorry, I didn't mean to ignore your earlier questions, so I wanted to throw those out there and give you quick answers.
Before I go to dinner, Gator, I just want to say that, no, I never take 2 positions at once, but with Trade Armor on Fidelity, it's basically the equivalent of bracket orders on Schwab. It is actually the equivalent. It's actually a very, very useful tool, and it's allowed me to be in 2 positions at once. So I might be long Apple, then scalping Tesla on the side, because I can see the other position with the chart, where my stops are, what the name is doing, and I can literally on the chart move my stop up with the name. And I'm like, ooh, I really don't want to be in it now. I'm moving my stop up and I'm stopped out, and there's my day. So, we have all this technology, trade armor on Fidelity. I mean, I'm not endorsing it. I'm not saying it's the best tool ever, but it's a great way to just buy some small shares and try to catch a bigger move. Gator, with that said, I do have to go to dinner, but thank you for having me, man. I love this show. I really do.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you coming on, brother. Really love it. Love having you on. Glad you had the time to come on and chat. I appreciate it, dude.
Yeah, it's going to be a great month of May, and make sure that we're all rested for the weekend and trade smart, be happy, make money, and see you Monday, man.
Yeah, dude. I'll catch you Monday. Have a good weekend. Relax. Enjoy the time away.
See you guys. Have a good one.
Deuces. So Eddie's out, guys. I'll still hang out for a second before I bounce. Do. Questions and stuff. So let's see. Yeah, emotions are almost always wrong, David, in the sense of like being overly emotional in either direction. But you also have to accept that they happen, and you shouldn't try to hide them or pretend that you're not going to be emotional. I try to understand that I am going to be emotional, and I try to work through them. And that's kind of the best way, or the best advice in a sense that I could give somebody, is that I actually accept that they're there, I acknowledge them, and I work through them as a trader, as opposed to pretending that they don't exist and I'm going to power through them. Because it's a lie that you can power through them. You can't. So, at least not for an extended period of time. And to be healthier, I try to identify those weaknesses. It's like, I didn't trade Amazon today, but if I was trading Amazon, like let's say this, let's say here, let's move my face out of the way. Like, I wouldn't have traded Amazon today. Rose did. She probably made $1 million, but like, I see this. It pulls down, it comes back up. I probably don't short this because if I look left, man, I just see all this chop. Yeah, sure, it could go down, and maybe I short it for a little bit, but I'm not holding this for this whole move because look at what I'm looking at in the left. I don't know what it's going to do. There are easier trades sometimes. So there's nothing wrong with just identifying something and finding a reason that you didn't take a trade and just laying off. And you shouldn't beat yourself up for not taking Geronimo short. Or if you're in Discord with me and it's like Gator called along and I missed it and he's still in it and it's up 5 points or 2 points, who cares? Like, who cares? I made more sometimes sitting there making intelligent trades later in the day with smaller size than I do taking aggressive size early and holding and making those moves. Just find the next good trade. There's going to be plenty of good trades that happen in a day. Yeah, especially with smaller accounts, Rebecca. It's a tough one to trade with a smaller account. I wouldn't be trading it with a smaller account. I trade it now, but I'm kind of cool with losing 5 points per trade type thing on it, or I expect that could easily be a loss, and so I trade with the size according to that. It's like I'll lose 2 or 3 grand on a trade, and it's like if I get in it, I know that that's possible. So I try to make sure that there's a strong trend or a really good setup that gives me an advantage. And so a trade like this, I actually probably would have shorted if you had good stuff here, because you see it popping and it's at the top and it probably isn't going to break out. It starts ticking down. I probably do short it some, but that's just a maybe. And you don't even know how the PI is. Maybe there's like a $5 spread, and do you really want to trust price improvement? Yeah, I think so, Con. I agree, David. That's the same. Or Dave. W. That clear trend is just, if you've got that clear trend, hey puppy. If you've got that clear trend, it's a fun and easy name to trade, in my opinion. If you don't, then I leave it alone. I don't trade it after earnings. It's interesting that like power of wanting something to happen and trading because you want it as opposed to trading because it's a good trade and a good setup. You know what I mean? Big difference. Yeah, man. Don't beat yourself up. I've had many a red Friday. Nothing you can do, just come back. Trade smart Monday. Tired this East Coast time. I am at 478 subscribers on YouTube now. If any of you guys are watching and not subscribers, subscribe. Throw up that count. The goal is to get to 5,000. Or 5,000. I mean, yeah, that's a goal too, but 500. We hit 500, then we go for 1,000. Y'all got any questions before I call it? Been going for a while. I'm going to do some shorter shows. I'm not going to review the trades live tonight. I'll do videos over the weekend maybe of me doing some trade reviews, and then I'll post them so you guys can check them out of the Facebook and Tesla trades. And I'm not doing them to show the money I made, but just to kind of show the concept of what I was looking for and the trade idea behind it. Kind of like Drew's show that he does with people that come on and talk about the show. So if you guys have comments on it and stuff, and if you do want to follow in Discord and you're not currently following, links in the description of this video for a Discord. For our Discord, you're welcome to join. You can also leave a comment, and I'll send you a link to the Discord if you want to join. One of my kids are waking up. It's probably going to be a long night. They don't seem to want to sleep tonight. But if y'all don't have any questions, any thoughts, any extra, do y'all have any questions, any thoughts, comments for the week? I had a great week. Good into the month. I'm looking forward to starting May. Because I could always pick a topic and ramble, but I don't think I will tonight. It's great to have Eddy on. We've been going for about 2 hours, so I'll give it just a second. Definitely leave a like. I'll have some more content coming soon. I've been sick this last week again. Apologize for that. Haven't been able to do any shows, but I'll be throwing some stuff together and hoping to make some new videos for people, and kind of developing this channel and the Discord a little bit more over the course of the summer. I am moving next month, so it's just a random personal note. There'll be some times during this month, especially the end, when I'm extremely busy and unable to do a lot. But come June and after June, when I kind of get moved, July, August, after the summer, this channel and a lot of the stuff I do is going to be a really big focus of mine, and I'm really going to start putting a lot more time into making regular content that's just not the evening shows, but strategies, trade reviews, 5K challenge, a lot of other stuff like that, to kind of give people stuff that will help them as day traders is more the goal. And even if it's just the guys that are in the Discord room, 200, 400 people that are watching and learning, if it helps you kind of improve as a trader, then it meets my goal, and I don't really care in the sense overall. I'm not getting paid to do this, and I enjoy doing it, and I hope that the stuff that I put out now and the stuff that we put out in the future will kind of help you on your path, and then I'll just kind of be kind of part of that, part of your journey. So that's kind of the goal, and what I'm looking for as this channel kind of progresses and grows, is to help the people that kind of follow it kind of get to their goals, and it helps people become full-time traders, or hobby traders, or whatever it is, or just entertainment. If you just like to be entertained and you find me for some reason entertaining. I like those names too. Apple, I don't trade Apple almost ever, but AMD, the Qs, I don't trade the SPY very much. I could, but I just trade the triple Qs. But I like those names too, Rebecca. Tight spreads, easy to trade, easy to know your stop loss, a lot easier. Names like Tesla and stuff, those are great names. I do really enjoy trading those names. So theirs are definitely on my list too. So I appreciate it, guys. I'll throw up some videos over the weekend. If I can take time tomorrow possibly to edit and do a few. Maybe I'll do a live show tomorrow morning. Trying to think if I should do it live and to take questions, and kind of do the trade review and then just post it, or if I should do just a posted video, maybe a posted video. Either way, I'll throw those videos up over the weekend of 1 or 2 trades from this week, and just to give you guys something and to give you some ideas of the stuff I look for, etc., etc. But I appreciate you guys hanging out. If you did hang out and you're here, leave a like, drop a comment afterwards, let me know what you like. If you want to see other stuff, I know someone posted in the past they want to see some under 20-minute videos, so I'm going to try to post more of those. Again, just kind of time that's doing that. It was a good week. It was a good month. It could have been better. I made some mistakes, but overall, I kind of I ended strong, and I persevered through the toughness and kind of got to where I wanted to be. So I'll definitely do some more trade reviews and trade review shows. I hope that they help, and I will probably start doing some ones within a 30-minute time frame that shows some of the bigger ones and wins and losses that I take in the first 30 minutes of the day. So I definitely want to do some stuff like that, so you guys kind of see my mindset towards trading and what I'm looking at, even though if you do want to trade with me live, you can obviously do it in the Discord. So I will see you guys over the weekend. Love you all. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the time away, or whatever you do. Spend time with family. Relax. Detox your mind. Get ready to go Monday. FOMC next week. Be a fun week. Kind of crazy week. So we'll see what happens. I don't know, but I know I'm going to sit down and I'm going to trade psychologically clean on Monday, watching for setups, watching for strength and weakness in the market, and then trading that trend. So until later, bandits, I'll catch you all next week. Have a great weekend. Deuces.